In the 1930s in America, when the Great Depression was at its peak and poverty was rampant, amid the chaos, a notorious duo emerges, capturing the American public's imagination with their daring heists and charismatic personalities. Bonnie Parker and Clyde Barrow, better known as Bonnie and Clyde, are a young couple who embark on a sensational life of crime that will eventually lead to their tragic end. Their story is one of passion, danger, and ultimately heartbreak. Join us for a closer look at the fascinating story of Bonnie and Clyde, a true American tragedy. In the early 1930s, America fell into the whirlpool of the Great Depression, and the country descended into turmoil. It was during this time that two young lovers, Bonnie Elizabeth Parker and Clyde Chestnut Barrow, became involved in many notorious cases and attracted national attention. They formed the Barrow Gang, a gang of outlaws that roamed the central United States, robbing and killing whenever they were cornered or confronted.
Remember to hit the like button, because it helps us a lot. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and press the notification bell to not miss the upcoming interesting video.
With Clyde's brother Buck Barrow and his wife Blanche, along with Raymond Hamilton, W.D. Jones, Joe Palmer, Ralph Fultz, and Henry Methvin, the gang is known for its daring bank robberies. But their crimes extend beyond banks, as they also like to rob small shops and gas stations in rural areas. They're responsible for the deaths of at least 9 police officers and several civilians. However, their story had a tragic end when they were ambushed and killed by law enforcement officers near Sal's, Louisiana, on May 23, 1934. It was the result of one of the most spectacular and colorful hunts the nation had ever witnessed up to that point. The FBI's interest in Bonnie and Clyde was aroused in late December 1932 after a series of clues emerged. It all started with a Ford car stolen in Pawhuska, Oklahoma, and then found abandoned near Jackson, Michigan in September of the same year. In Pawhuska, investigators discovered another Ford vehicle also stolen, this time in Illinois. When they searched the vehicle, they found items that indicated it had been occupied by a man and a woman. A vial found in the vehicle led agents to a pharmacy in Nacogdoches, Texas, where it was discovered that the woman who had purchased the prescription was Clyde Barrow's aunt. Upon further investigation, it was discovered that the woman who bought the prescription had recently been visited by Clyde Barrow, Bonnie Parker, and Clyde's brother, L.C. Barrow. It was also revealed that the trio was driving a Ford car, which has been reported stolen in Illinois. The empty potion was found from the original buyer's son. On May 20, 1933, the United States Commissioner for Dallas, Texas, issued warrants for the arrest of Bonnie Parker and Clyde Barrow, accusing them of using a stolen car interstate from Dallas to Oklahoma. The FBI then began to hunt down the notorious couple, who became the most wanted criminals in the country. Bonnie Elizabeth Parker was born on October 1, 1910, in Rowena, Texas, to Charles and Emma Krause Parker. Tragedy struck when Bonnie was 4 years old, when her father passed away. The family moved to Cement City, now known as West Dallas, to live with her grandparents. During her sophomore year of high school, Bonnie met Roy Thornton, and the two ran away on September 25, 1926, just 6 days before her 16th birthday. However, the relationship was turbulent. Thornton physically abused her, and the two engaged in illegal activities. In 1929, Thornton was sentenced to 5 years in prison for robbery, prompting Bonnie to move in with her grandmother. Though she never saw Thornton again, Bonnie continued to wear his wedding ring until her death. Bonnie's early life was marked by tragedy and turmoil. She lost her father at an early age and became entangled in a turbulent marriage. The abuse and criminal activity in her relationship with Thornton may have contributed to her willingness to join Clyde Barrow and embark on a life of crime. Clyde Chestnut Barrow was born into poverty near Tellico, Texas on March 24, 1909. He was the fifth of 7 children born to Henry Basil Barrow and Kumi Talitha Walker. The family struggled to make ends meet and eventually settled in West Dallas in the early 1920s, where they lived in poverty. Clyde was first arrested in 1926 for not paying his rent on time. He was arrested again shortly after he went with his brother, Buck, to steal turkeys. Despite working legally from 1927 to 1929, Clyde was constantly involved in criminal activities. He becomes increasingly violent and unpredictable. Bonnie Parker's life was forever changed when she met Clyde Barrow in Dallas on January of 1930. Bonnie, a 19-year-old waitress, and Clyde, a 20-year-old wanted fugitive, is an unlikely combination. But from the moment they met, Bonnie was captivated by Clyde and captivated her heart. Despite the danger, she falls in love with him, and together, the two begin a life of crime. Bonnie smuggled guns for Clyde and helped him escape on March 11, 1930. But their freedom was short-lived, and they were arrested just a week later. Clyde is taken to Eastham Prison, where he faces unimaginable horrors. One day, an inmate named Ed Crowder repeatedly sexually assaulted Clyde, pushing him into the brink of insanity. In anger, Clyde smashed Ed's skull with a lead pipe, killing him instantly. This is Clyde's first murder, but it won't be the last. While in prison, Clyde persuaded another prisoner to cut off his 2 toes with an axe to avoid hard labor in the fields. The self-mutilation left Clyde with a permanent limp, but he could have saved his toe if he had known his mother was fighting for his release. Just 6 days after losing his toe, Clyde's petition for release was granted. On February 2, 1932, Clyde Barrow was finally pardoned, and when he walked out of prison, he was a different man. One inmate witnessed the transformation, describing how Clyde had transformed from an innocent schoolboy into a dangerous rattlesnake. Reuniting with Bonnie, he wastes no time continuing his life of crime. This time, however, he chose smaller targets like groceries and gas stations. In 1932, Bonnie and Clyde teamed up with Raymond Hamilton, a young gunman. Hamilton left the group early and was replaced by William Daniel Jones in November of that year, but the gang grew. Clyde's brother, Ivan M. Buck Barrow, who was recently fully pardoned, quickly joined the group along with his wife, Blanche. The team now consists of 5 members, and together they carry out a series of daring robberies that cause national outrage. Despite their criminal activities, Bonnie and Clyde managed to escape arrest during numerous encounters with the law. But as their reputation grew, so did the efforts of law enforcement to arrest them. During a gunfight with police in Iowa on July 29, 1933, Buck Barrow was fatally wounded and Blanche was arrested. Jones, who was often mistaken for Pretty Boy Floyd, was also later arrested in Houston, Texas. But Bonnie and Clyde continued their crime, even after losing 2 members of their gang. It was not until the spring of 1933 that the authorities were able to track their activities across the states, thanks to a stolen car. That led to federal car theft charges and allowed the FBI to officially join the manhunt in May 1933. Despite increasing police attention, Bonnie and Clyde intercepted and robbed a citizen in Shreveport, Louisiana, on December 21, 1933. And on January 16, 1934, Clyde, along with Bonnie, freed 5 inmates from Eastham State Penitentiary in Waldo, Texas, including Raymond Hamilton, who who was serving sentences totaling more than 200 years. The prisoners fled after shooting 2 guards with an automatic pistol that Barrow had previously hidden. Among those who escaped was Henry Methvin of Louisiana. In 1934, Bonnie and Clyde had an encounter with 2 young officers patrolling a highway near Grapevine, Texas. The officers had no chance to fight back. They were killed on the spot. A week later, Bonnie and Clyde attacked again, this time in Miami, Oklahoma, where they shot dead a police officer, kidnapped and wounded a sheriff, and escaped in a stolen vehicle. The FBI is constantly pursuing the Barrow gang. They distributed wanted notices with fingerprints, photos, descriptions, criminal records, and other data to all officers in the area. Bonnie and Clyde are frequently spotted in various states, but it was in Louisiana that FBI agents discovered the connection between Henry Methvin and the Methvin family. They uncover key clues that Bonnie and Clyde were driving a stolen car in New Orleans. On May 21st, 1934, a group of 4 officers from Texas were in Shreveport when they learned that Bonnie and Clyde were planning to visit Ivy Methvin in Bainville Parish that evening. The group arranged an ambush along Louisiana State Route 154, south of Gibbsland, towards Sales. They waited all day, May 22nd, but there was no sign of the culprits. When they were about to give up, around 9:15 a.m. on May 23rd, they heard a car speeding closer. Officers persuaded Methvin to leave his truck by the side of the road that morning. They hoped that Bonnie and Clyde would stop to talk to him, bringing their vehicle closer to the police location in the bushes. As expected, Bonnie and Clyde hit the road in a Ford V8 with Bonnie at the wheel. When they saw the truck in front of them, they slowed down. Suddenly, from the bushes along the road, 6 officers opened fire, aiming straight at the car, which had a total of about 130 bullets. The first shot was fired by Oakley, possibly before any orders were given. The bullet lodged in Barrow's head, killing him instantly. Hinton, one of the officers, reported hearing Parker's screams. The officers continued to shoot and shoot until the car was riddled with bullets. Bonnie and Clyde are killed instantly. At the time of their deaths, Bonnie and Clyde are believed to have committed 13 murders and several robberies. Their deaths were seen as a victory for law enforcement and a relief for the public. After their deaths, Bonnie's husband, Roy Thornton, who is still in prison, expressed relief, saying, "I'm so glad they're gone. It's much better than being arrested." Clyde Barrow is buried in Dallas at Western Heights Cemetery, where he shares a granite marker with his brother Marvin. Clyde chose a 4-letter epitaph that reads, "Gone but not forgotten." Bonnie and Clyde wanted to be buried next to each other, but the Parker family wouldn't allow it. Bonnie is buried elsewhere in Dallas. Bonnie and Clyde's infamous crimes captivated the nation during the Great Depression. They are portrayed as romanticized outlaws who defy authority, whose actions have resulted in the deaths of many innocent civilians and law enforcement officers. Bonnie and Clyde's tragic ending marks the end of a sensational crime life. However, their legacy lives on through countless movies, books, and songs that continue to fascinate and intrigue people to this day. Please like and share if you find this video content interesting and useful. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and comment below so as not to miss the upcoming interesting videos. Thanks for watching.